Recently, YouTube announced that they might, I kid you not, that they might be making a change to the YouTube platform. And of course, the YouTube community chose violence. YouTube announced that what it will be doing is an experiment where it will remove the dislike counter on the dislike button. This means that when you thumbs down a video, you won't have the immediate gratification of seeing that dislike counter number go up. No cheap dopamine for you. But in all seriousness, this is a change that has a lot of people concerned. The YouTube community is actually divided on this issue. As reflected in my community tab polling, it's 55% in favor, 45% in favor of not removing the dislike counter or the dislike button. And that's just what's going on right now. But I also have a solution for this that may surprise you. So we're going to talk about the issue, why YouTube claims that they're doing this. I'm going to address some of the concerns that people have in the community about what's going to happen if there's no dislikes, how they feel it might silence criticism, or like not hold people accountable, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to be interjecting my opinions on the subject in a sarcastic fashion. So let's start with what this would look like. First of all, this would actually make the YouTube platform design a little bit more consistent. We don't see a dislike counter when you thumbs down a comment made by another YouTuber or even by the original creator of the video. So in the comment section, we actually already don't see this. The same thing for the YouTube community tab post. You don't actually see the dislike counter go up when you thumbs down a post or a comment responding to the post. So this would actually mean that we would have consistent design across the platform. Now, I know a lot of you don't care about that, but I'm a design nerd. I care about UI UX design, so that actually kind of matters to me. I like consistency, and YouTube has been mad inconsistent in certain aspects of the platform for a long time. So any change that favors consistency, I typically am in favor of. Now, YouTube cites two major reasons why they are making this change, or at least looking to make this change through their experiments. One of them is creator mental health and the fact that it is really discouraging when you upload things and you have to see that counter in the face. And while yes, you would still see the data on the back end of your videos, sometimes people do choose to avoid looking at that specific data metric or any of their data metrics. A lot of you have actually said that your mental health has been impacted by seeing the 10 out of 10 analytics buffer there showing you like how your videos compared to your previous uploads, and that if you see a video is 10 out of 10, meaning it is the 10th most viewed video out of your last 10 uploads, meaning it's the worst, that immediately discourages you from making another upload, which then creates a little bit of a downward spiral from not uploading content consistently. So there are creators that are impacted by this. A lot of people will say, well, toughen up, grow up, have a thicker skin. My thoughts on this are there's a difference between private pain and public pain. And the thing is, when people see a dislike counter, a lot of times they decide to pile on. That's something that anybody who's ever experienced bullying can probably relate to, is that when the sharks smell blood, they just go ahead chomping at the bit, foaming at the mouth, they just keep on coming. So I could see why that would be an issue, but I think the second reason actually makes a lot more sense. You see, the first reason ties to the second reason because YouTube actually has had a problem with mass dislike campaigns. These are something that a lot of you probably don't know about, and you may not even think that this is a big problem. Some of you are not aware of any of this at all, but I can actually personally tell you that I know content creators who have been targeted by this. I know product reviewers who have been targeted by this on their videos, and I also know political commentators who have been targeted unfairly by this on their videos. Usually what happens is with these mass dislike campaigns, either a group or collective of people mass dislike videos even immediately after upload without watching the video, knowing that it will psychologically discredit the video in the eyes of a new viewer. And especially since most of our views, as you guys already know, come from people who aren't subscribed to us. We have all this data that shows us that a lot of our views initially come from people who don't know who we are, and they're judging the videos at face value. And one of the metrics for judging a video at face value is the like ratio. The defense and argument used by people who are wanting to protect the dislike button at all costs is that, hey, we need the dislike button and we need the like ratios and we need the dislike counter because that allows us to know if a video is worth our time or if it's trash or if it's a scam. Well, guess what? People who do mass dislike campaigns unfairly to creators, unfairly to brands, unfavorably to people they disagree with politically, or even to people criticizing them, are counting on you to use that shortcut. They're counting on you to use consensus instead of critical thinking, not watch a video, not make up your own opinion, and look at that dislike counter and discredit a video. So that's the issue with these mass dislike campaigns. It actually is a very poor judge of whether a video is good. But since people use it in that way, other people are manipulating it. They're manipulating with bots. You can actually buy dislikes as a service, and sometimes you will have a creator that will punch down at a smaller creator. Or you'll have somebody with massive fan bases or stans, whether they actually instigate this or their audience just does it, that will mass dislike any video criticizing them. Like I said, there are many of you who are not aware of this problem with dislikes. You're not aware of the fact that people are actually using this in the opposite way that it's intended. There are bad faith actors out there, and maybe they're not the majority of people on YouTube, but it's a significant enough problem. And the thing is, there are even brands who are doing this to sabotage their competitors. I've heard this personally from beauty reviewers and tech reviewers that they've seen it with their own eyes. I've had people reach out to me and tell me about this. I even know that there have been influencers who have been paid by brands to do negative reviews of a competing product, and it's included in their rate card to do a negative review of a competitor. So I know that there are some really unscrupulous people out there, bad faith actors, that manipulate these systems because they know that people won't do their own research. And that's kind of my big pet peeve in this rant and with the people that are defending the dislike button at all cost. If people know that they can do this, because a lot of the argument is, well, Roberto, what about all the scams and grifters out there? First of all, almost anybody on YouTube who has been massively called out, and I love that there are people who do call out scams. You know, my friend Mike Sennheiser has a great YouTube channel, and he does a lot of that, but he also gives some real advice for people in the business world and entrepreneur and tries to protect them from scams. But guess what? Every big channel that's ever been called out on scams probably has like a 90% like ratio on their last 20 videos. The dislike button is not holding people accountable. You could probably look at a lot of YouTubers who have scandals, go look at their last 20 videos. The dislike button has not impacted them at all or made people aware of what's going on. And yes, I'm aware that people can filter comments, delete criticizing comments, filter them at mass. I understand that, but the dislike button is not a protection against any of that, because it actually has not yet helped make YouTube a better place in any meaningful way. What it is allowed to do currently is manipulate people who don't know any better, and it can be used and weaponized to silence criticism or to sabotage a competitor because of these mass dislike campaigns. Dislikes are a valuable feedback mechanism to let a creator know, in many cases, that they could do better or that people don't agree with the video. And that's valid. However, it's not a really good judge of whether a video was well produced, well performed, well edited, or whether it actually makes a good point. Take news, for example. News videos or videos that cover different events or sensitive topics can get dislikes that have nothing to do with the video or the commentary on it, but just because it actually literally made people feel bad. We saw a lot of this during the pandemic. Dislikes don't give enough context as a feedback mechanism. We don't need that much context for a smile or for a positive affirmation. Because again, when you are being told, well, you're not doing anything so bad or wrong, you don't really need much more follow-up on that. But when you are doing something wrong, or you're getting a frown, or someone's mean mugging you, you kind of would like some context on, well, what's the problem? Is it a problem with me? Is it a problem with the thing itself? Or is it completely unrelated to me? What's the deal here? A lot of people have suggested, well, maybe people should be required to fill out a pop-up in order to do a dislike. That's a horrible user experience, and it's a bad user design, and it will be particularly crappy on mobile devices. So again, I don't have a perfect answer, but we are running a poll over in my community tab, and a lot of you actually favor the solution that I've come up with. Unfortunately, this solution looks a lot like what Facebook is doing. My answer is emojis give you a lot of context. A lot of us use that in our text messaging and in the way we communicate on platforms like Twitter. We use emojis to tell people a little bit more about how we feel about something. But I also think from a programming and technical side, if you literally have 4 or 5 emojis, it's actually harder to make a code to game that and to build bots around it. While it's not impossible, it's a lot more difficult and a lot more challenging. And overnight, it would destroy all of these scam businesses that sell dislikes, and it's just going to literally make their life harder and eliminate the majority of their industry overnight, just like that. And I couldn't be happier if we went in that direction. Team YouTube, if you're listening, get us some emojis. But in all seriousness, I actually think that this would be a better solution. And then if you have the emotional range and spectrum, use that as sentiment, I think that a sentiment score of how most people emotionally feel about something gives more context and is better than just the binary of like or dislike. I think that like or dislike in itself becomes lazy and becomes redundant, because if you don't like something, you could just thumbs up it and leave the rest alone, or leave a comment. And yes, again, comments can be filtered, deleted, I get that, but the thing is, you at least got to express your opinion even if it wasn't made public for everybody. The creator probably got to see it at some point, or at least you tried. Like I said, I'm of the opinion that dislikes can be as easily weaponized against somebody who is trying to call out scams or trying to give valid criticism. I think that between stan culture and the fact that a mob of fans who didn't bother to listen with their own ears and with their own eyes and make an informed opinion about that valid criticism could easily just come in and dislike it all to hell. And that means that nobody who sees that video will think it's valid criticism. They will immediately assume that it's just the rantings of a hater, and they will pile on. And that's why even dislikes can't be trusted in terms of what's credible, because of things like stan culture, if not for things like dislike bots. So think about it. There's no real great judgment for whether something is good or valid other than your own judgment. You can't use consensus and the feelings of a group as a substitute for making up your own mind and applying critical thinking and doing your own research. Which is why I hate the argument that the dislike counter and the like ratios are a way for us to decide if a video is good or bad before we waste our time on it. If we use that logic and apply it to everything, then why watch small YouTube creators? Why not just watch people who already have millions of subscribers? Because clearly everyone has already decided that they are the person who deserves to be watched, and everything else is a waste of our time too. So if you're a small creator, I don't know why, as a smaller creator, as a smaller channel, you would defend this idea that we absolutely have to trust those like ratios and dislike ratios as a vetting mechanism for not wasting our time, when that literally just invalidates your existence if we apply the same logic to subscriber counts and to view counts. What is popular is not always good, and what is good is not always popular. That's why I think that vanity metrics really shouldn't be trusted and used as a basis for making a decision. At least I don't feel they're a substitute for forming your own opinion about things. And again, I know that's probably a bigger topic or a deeper topic than, oh, YouTube just changed a feature on us. But I think that we need to think a little bit deeper about these things. I think that what is at stake here is bigger than whether a few channels that are not making good content or not making a good tutorial. I think that this is a bigger problem than people realize, than the convenience of whether or not they waste 15 seconds on a crappy video. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. But you know what would be a great way to get feedback and hear more of your opinions? You can actually join our Discord server, which is actually now a verified server. So I'm gonna link to that in the description down below, and you can actually be part of the community and you can discuss these kinds of things. Also, you can just go to robertoblake.com/discord and you're in. You can become part of the server, become part of the Awesome Squad family. Let me know what you think of this topic and whether or not we should keep the dislike button the way it is, get rid of it altogether, or we should go to emojis the way that I want to. You can let me know in the comment section, or you can go over to the community tab post, which I'm gonna link in the description, and you can vote in the poll there, because I'd really love to see that data from you guys. For 5 tips that you're not already doing on how to grow your YouTube channel, click the video up here on the screen and in the description, or click this playlist on how to grow a YouTube channel. Thanks so much you guys for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today, even if people dislike it. Take care.